Thank you so much, Marcus, for joining me today for this conversation on SaaS and the importance of SaaS in the telecom industry. So it's great to be here together. I know Nokia and Elisa have a lot of history together, going back to the origins of GSM technology and many innovations and collaboration together over the years. I know just last year together we set a speed record for 5G millimeter wave. And so now we're looking at the next frontier of SaaS in the telecom industry and the potential it has to really transform. And I know that Elisa has been, again, ahead of the curve with the industry and showing a lot of foresight in your thinking about SaaS and SaaS models. So appreciate your joining me today. And if we could maybe start with a little bit of how you see SaaS. What is your journey to SaaS for Elisa? What are some of the benefits that you expect it to bring to you or that you've already seen from SaaS? And on the flip side, what are some of the hurdles to adopting SaaS that you need to overcome?
Yeah. Thanks, Jing, for having me. It's a pleasure. We have been in Elisa for doing automation for over a decade, and we are actually very keen about doing the automation in all of the teams that are working in different parts of the organization. Mm-hmm. And we have the good basis for going into taking the new technologies into use, new methods, new processes, new way of working, and how to utilize the new technology and be the forerunner, like you said, front runner. We have been doing this SaaS model and going towards that in IT side already a longer time. So we are utilizing for a little bit different purposes depending on the life cycle of the applications used in the IT side. We are utilizing the resources from the public cloud and going towards different SaaS models, for example, for Salesforce in CRM and systems and so forth, Workday and so forth. And now we are seeing the same kind of a path in telco and going more softwareized infrastructure and utilizing the different models from, for example, from Nokia. Mm-hmm. And now a little bit depending on the use case, how we approach the SaaS and what's the cloud native approach in there. We go step by step towards for example, for 5G core mm-hmm. utilization of SaaS model right. in the future.
Right. So in adopting SaaS, what are some of the benefits that you are seeing or that you expect to see?
Well, overall, of course, the agility and the kind of how do we utilize our own resources when developing different network functions. Mm-hmm. And what is our role? What is maybe the vendor's role, the service provider's role right. for our purposes? And then we can maybe have more automated solutions where the whole stack is provided from Nokia, for example, mm-hmm. in the 5G world, right. for example.
Right. It frees you of some of the responsibility.
It does, and it does, and of course we are looking for cost efficiencies. Is something that is very important for us. Like said, we have been doing the automation. We are looking for the automation to have the next step in that one to really benefit operative-wise. But of course, it's just not the operational efficiency, but it's the faster time to market, for example. So how can we be better in that one? And the nature of using cloud-based services or cloud nativeness, what can it deliver us when we are, for example, distributing the core to edge and like I said, what we should do our own and what should be done with partnering with some of the vendors.
Yeah, exactly. So it's business decisions as well as technology decisions that come into play. Yeah, exactly.
It is something like it's technology, of course, but it's much about the processes, the people, how do we work,
right,
the culture,
right,
more of a DevOps,
exactly,
ops and so forth.
And it's about the business outcomes that you can get from the SaaS model. You talked a little bit about time to market and agility in certain areas that you're kind of attacking from a SaaS perspective.
Yes, it is, of course. And it's an interesting area where, for example, with the click of a button, I could order a 5G core network for our purposes, whatever it is. And of course, the SaaS, as its ecosystems around it, will give large benefits of what we can provide to our end customers as well.
Exactly, right. So when we think about 5G and monetizing 5G, I think no one in the industry knows exactly what all the killer use cases will be, and it's a lot about the agility that you talked about before. So when you think about 5G and SaaS, what are some of the ways that you think SaaS will help you monetize 5G, create new opportunities, or more ability to experiment with new ideas that are coming up within Elisa's organization or within your partners?
Yeah, I think SaaS overall, one thing is that we are providing also automation solutions towards different operators. Mm-hmm. So we have this kind of a software business also.
Right.
That's Elisa is a little bit different operator than usually the usual ones in the industry. Mm-hmm. And of course, SaaS as a delivery model is a possibility, an opportunity for us as well to deliver different services through SaaS to our customers.
Right.
And on top of that, the traditional side, of course, what are the different use cases? How can we deploy them faster? What is the trials that we can do with the customers? Mm-hmm. It gives us the agility, like I said, going forward, and deploying the new use cases for customers in the 5G area, for example.
Right, so it's kind of both sides of it that you're embracing. Part of it is SaaS that will help you run your business better from an IT perspective, consumers of SaaS essentially. Yeah. And then the other side of it is you're using SaaS as a way to deliver services to your end customers in a faster, more effective way and capitalize on those opportunities as they arise.
It is. Mm-hmm. And in SaaS, of course, how do we utilize all the ecosystem around it? And I think it will make it more easier to utilize those resources, different applications behind the SaaS model. Yeah. So that will be an interesting topic. Data and analytics is one area where we really can utilize the different models in SaaS and the tools that it will deliver.
Right. Yeah, the analytics are a huge piece, right? To continue that intelligence and learning and optimizing and catching things. Yeah.
It
so
is.
You mentioned ecosystems a moment ago, and one of the many ways we're partnering together is the Nokia Arena in Finland. Mm-hmm. And together we're kind of driving this network as code idea, using the Elisa network and Nokia tools and bringing in application developers. And you think about how 5G is much more programmable. And I'm interested in your thoughts on how SaaS can help facilitate exposing some of the capabilities of your 5G network into application developers and ecosystems as more ways to monetize your 5G network in that kind of broader ecosystem of app developers. And maybe you can comment on some of what we're doing together in the arena to kind of drive innovation there.
Yeah, that's actually something that we have built together, the Nokia, the things in the Nokia Arena. And next experiment would be to demo the delivery of SaaS 5G private core network in the arena, and how can we, based on that, deliver some of the use cases for different developers or the customers in that arena. So let's see. It will be an interesting experiment
Yeah, it's the next frontier of making it all real.
Yeah,
exactly.
It is. It is. Yeah. Well, the openness and how can we actually through code can have the network infrastructure already in place and the different open APIs. I can just imagine what kind of possibilities it will bring to the ecosystem and to our customers in the arena.
Exactly, because when you think of it from the end customer's perspective, they don't care if it's a 5G network making it all possible. They care about the experiences and the applications. So you're sort of facilitating that whole ecosystem to bring those experiences, in a more open way, taking advantage of the technology.
Yes, yes, that's true.
Yeah, that's great. Good. So thinking a little bit about IT SaaS and Telecom SaaS. You had mentioned earlier that in your journey to SaaS, you've started more from the IT side, Salesforce, for example. And of course, we've had IT SaaS with us for 20 years now. But Telecom SaaS is a bit of a newer idea that's just starting to gain a lot more adoption. So how do you look at Telecom SaaS differently than IT SaaS? What are the requirements that might be different or the considerations that you think about?
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, it's a kind of a line drawn in the water in a way. IT and telco, similar concept, but in IT side, as we have used to as a consumers to consume the different SaaS services like O365, it's like a multi-tenant. So one instance serving numerous customers with the same kind of approach, same SLA and same methods. In telco, the world is a little bit different, more complex in a way, if you could say so. There comes the telco grade, as we call it. We call it 5 nines.
Right.
Like the quality is extremely important all the time. And then there comes this kind of a regulatory privacy security issues also that we need to take into account. Different kind of SLAs, maintenance windows, and so forth. So telco SaaS is something that it's not so multi-tenant in a way. There are different dependencies, multi-layer networking issues. I would say it's a little bit more complex, and that's something that, of course, we are learning all the time. And how do we utilize the telco SaaS services?
Yeah. So it sounds like from your perspective, the bar is higher when it comes to telco SaaS and making sure that you have the reliability, the 5 nines, the security, the regulatory compliance, and really from a partner who understands the telecom environment well.
Sure. It's extremely important. Quality is number one for Elisa. We want to be the front runner in different arenas, technology-wise, but we always consider the quality as number one and start step by step going towards. But experimenting a lot of different approaches is important.
Yeah. So you kind of keep that North Star of quality and then work from there.
It is something. It comes back to the fact that what we realized already beginning of 2000 and 2008 that it's the automation what we want to run, and by that get the cost efficiency and the quality in overall for our customers.
Right.
And by doing automation, preventive automation, that will give us the advantage of running the networks as efficiently as we have been doing the past decade.
Right. So you're taking both cost and risk out of the equation with more automation.
It is. And that's why this SaaS and cloud native overall is so important, because we see that, and we are pushing that, of course, is that we see that that's the next step that we can take in the journey towards more cost efficient operations and so forth. And when running these networks is actually something that we need to have the automation in place. It's not more anymore that do I like to have it or not. It's more of a I must have the automation because the world is getting more complex all the time.
And it will enable you to scale more rapidly
with
better automation.
It does, yeah, definitely. That's why it's so important. And that's why I see that why Elisa is in a good position going forward, because we have been doing this kind of an automation already so long time, when combining the network engineering skills with the software developing skills and bring those two together in a concrete level in different teams. And that, in a way, that helps also building the right kind of a culture of developing and operating.
Right, the whole DevOps way of working, where it's not the siloed approaches, you're kind of converging IT, software, network.
It is, because like we know, those are coming more and more together now. It's all based software operations and so forth.
Stepping back just a bit, from more of an industry perspective, I know you've been involved in the industry for a long time. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges facing the telecom industry today, and some of the opportunities?
Yeah, I think the challenges are mainly towards when we are talking about what's the role, where we can utilize the different resources from a public cloud, for example. What are the regulations in place, as we know what's going on in the world with all the wars and different geopolitical situations? Is that how can we utilize the resources most efficiently and sustainable way? And there are some of the security in place that it's actually a little bit slow, maybe if I could say, slowing us down using the capabilities that they are already around. But of course it's important that those are in place, because data privacy is the most important, of course, from a personal perspective. How do we utilize and where we use the data and where it is. So we need to handle these obstacles, remove the obstacles in a way that we can utilize the SaaS model or the cloud native way, the public clouds, and the other part is cost perspective. We have quite a many years in investment-based operations, so we have invested a lot for the networks in advance. And now when we are turning into a kind of a OPEX model, where we pay per use. So and that starts immediately when you start using it. So then there's a time of where we have kind of a double costs. We have the earlier investments, and then we have the new costs coming in right away. So the
CapEx you've always had, and some of the OPEX that will give you more agility, but is the upfront.
There's the depreciations that are running for several years. So, but how do we make that gap and the time period where we have this kind of double expenses, if I could say so, as short as possible.
Right, and that's, I think, such an important topic today, is that a mix of CapEx and OPEX, and how service providers have traditionally managed all of their operational benchmarks versus, as you enter the world of SaaS, it really is different.
It is.
And so what is some of your advice, I guess, in terms of operators looking to make that shift from more of a CapEx intensive model, the more traditional model, versus an OPEX driven model? How do you look at that?
Yeah, it is something that we need to take the step by step towards that kind of a world where we gradually take the new models into place, and then at the same time look all the time what are the new investments that we are doing, like the traditional way. And that's something that we are doing all the time, optimizing how to handle that.
Right. And some of this with SaaS, it's not just an IT decision, it's not just a network decision, it's a whole business decision in terms of, as you said, the ways of working, and also all of the financial implications that you have to, kind of bring the whole business on a transformation. It
is actually, and it comes down to, it's not that the technology itself, it's more of the people,
right.
The skills. It's extremely important that how do we upskill the people so towards this new approach where different types of network functions, for example, can be bought through SaaS model and the different services. So it changes the way of working also inside our company and where we focus on. So that's kind of something I see again that we have taken good steps already, and we are experimenting a lot in this area.
Yeah, that's great. Experimentation is what you need for sure. So tell me what's next for Elisa. You've been pioneers in many different areas. What are your eyes on now in terms of strategy, direction, innovation?
It's lots about this cloud nativeness. We are actually pushing a little bit the vendors, the service providers, that we want it to go that way.
Yes.
We want to have the agility, the faster time to market. We are there in the virtualized world, some even in a physical bare metal world in a way, but in certain areas, but we are already there kind of long to take the step into the cloud native world. And this is something that we really want to do together with Nokia, for example. So get the benefits from that, get the automation in place, and maybe when we look year from now, we are quite along taking a huge step already in the SaaS world, for example.
Right, exactly, yeah. So we're very grateful to be partnering with you on this journey. Anything you'd like to add about kind of the relationship between our companies and how you see Nokia contributing to the success of Elisa and your kind of continued journey?
It's been a pleasure working for several years, decades, collaborating. I really enjoy the innovativeness of Nokia, taking steps towards towards the SaaS model or cloud native approach, open approach to different hyperscalers, for example, how to collaborate together and learning together. We have been doing many first in the world press releases in history, and I see no reason why we would not have those in the future as well. So it's been a really pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, for us as well. We love the openness and the collaboration and being on a journey together. So it's great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, this was a great discussion ranging from, your technical journey, your people journey, your financial journey, and how all of those pieces come together, in the SaaS model, and how that's kind of underpinning a lot of your future success. So great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jean. It's been a pleasure.